Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. And I want to say this is the 2nd of December, which is 3 days before Christmas. 3 days, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. 3 days before Christmas. Oh, you're about to get on a plane heading to Germany. Oh, that's awesome. That's wonderful. Um, One would think that you'd be going somewhere hot. And the temperature around the world, especially in this part of the world, is a bit very chilly. Um, well, enjoy your trip to Germany. And of course, for those in hot countries, I'm sure you're enjoying that. For the UK, temperature is not so bad now. It's about 8 degrees Celsius, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check it. It's 10 degrees, so that's not bad. Last week it was 1 degrees, and this week it is 10 degrees, -1. As I said, someone said to me, oh, you left Jamaica 2 days ago. That's awesome. Someone said to me that it is cold in Kingston, Jamaica. And I said, what temperature is that? And I showed them the temperature of -1 in the UK on my phone. And they said, oh, sorry. And I showed them also the writing on my car, which was someone wrote "Merry Christmas" in the ice, and that was something else. So that is very interesting there. So, ladies and gentlemen, anyway, it could be the last one of before Christmas. It's going to be the last show before Christmas in review, and we'll look at some of the news tonight as well. I'm going to be joined at 9:30 by Rudi Page of the Global Diaspora Council. We're going to talk about the world elections, some new developments which are happening regarding the diaspora. The diaspora is a very fundamental factor because anybody want to know what the diaspora is? The diaspora is persons out of a country. Um, what should I say? Persons of a country in another country. So, like we would say, Jamaicans in the UK, in USA, they are part of the diaspora. African diaspora as well, and even Americans. You can say Americans out of America in other countries. They are the diaspora as well. So there's some representation and some election which is going to take place. So the page is going to take me through that a bit later. But just a couple of things in the news which just want to flag up, and I'm sure everybody is seeing these things. Is that one of the things that I put about is rail fare rises. Rail fare rises. And why I picked up on the rail fare rises was because the one start to think really and truly if these rail fare rises, which they're talking about, can it be sustained? Yeah. Can it be sustained? And I say, can it be sustained? Because really and truly, persons are not actually, there must be, the demand must be less for train, for public transport. It must be less. And I tell you why it must be less. It must be less because a lot of people are working actually from home. Yeah. Lots of people are working from home. The virtual world still exists. CVP, Teams, especially Teams, because of the security factor, Zoom, lots of people are still working from home. And because of that, you have to question how can the transport sector be sustained? It's like they've got to try to find very innovative ways how to do things. And what they're talking about is regulated rail fares in England will rise by up to 5.9% from March. The Department for Transport has announced the rise is being capped at a level well below inflation, okay, to help reduce the impact on passengers, Transport Secretary said. Labor called the hike, which is still the second highest on record, a sick joke, while a watchdog said passengers were not getting value for money. Fares will officially rise on 5th of March 2023. I keep saying this. Really and truly, when you really think about it, I think that the fares, even though it's going up and they're trying to balance the books, really and truly, chances are it is not going to be sustained. And why it's not going to be sustained, ladies and gentlemen, I believe it's not going to be sustained because people are not taking transport as much as possible. This is the virtual world. This is the metaverse world. It's like when they say children of today cannot be taught as the children of yesterday, because the children of yesterday were taught and trained for a world which is maybe then. The children of today are trained or should be taught in a way for this world. So therefore, adapting to new changes will have to be something that the train service and all those sort of transport sector will have to do. So while and true, it's good for the strike, and I think you know you cannot get rid of unions. I don't believe unions should be thrown to the curb, but I believe there need to be some level of the word should I say recognizing that things have changed. It's like when I go to Jamaica sometime, my mother would say, um, Jamaica is not the same as how it was. So when you go about what you're doing, don't just be willy nilly because things have somewhat changed, and things have somewhat changed in a way in regards to the public transport, because lots of people are actually working from home. And case on point, the recent big freeze, the even these train strike. Okay, for those in the entertainment sector, well, entertainment where you got to go to the theater, those who are working in the restaurant, of course you cannot do that virtually, but those in the legal field, those in business or so, everyone can actually log on from home, change your clothes, pop into the kitchen, waboom, 2 minutes, you're in the office, the virtual office. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the way of the world. That's the way of the future. That's how things I believe is going to be. If you think otherwise, let me know. But I think, in a way, that's how things are going to be. The world is adapting and it's going to change. That's my view for that. There are lots of strike which are going to happen. Nurses strike, death strike, all different strike. You know, we just hope that the country will keep running and so like that. The other thing which I was looking at, and this is I'm sure many persons have seen it. I'm not going to talk about the in Dutch. I think in Netherlands or so, there's a talk about apology for the slave trade. Um, Something I might touch on another time, because the interesting thing about that it is I keep seeing the president or the prime minister keep talking about it, but just giving apologies upon apologies upon apologies is just simple apologies. One has got to do something which is, what should I say, subs- substance. There's got to be something sustaining. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the Rwanda policies, ladies and gentlemen. The Rwanda policy is something which is out now. When I say out now, this is the policy where many people are saying, and I have a picture right there which says, "Stand up to stand up to racism, refugees welcome, Royal Court of Justice." The backdrop of what you're seeing there is the fact that it went to court, and the government won to say that it is legal for the government to send persons to Rwanda. Yeah? Peace and balance, and wellness, Silburn, all in the life. Peace and balance, Carmen Hall. Peace and balance, Jacqueline. Peace and balance, those who are online. Peace and balance, everyone. That's the new word today. Peace and balance. Yeah, get busy. The This policy here, the Rwanda policy, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this is a policy where the government of the UK trying to somehow deal with this refugees or persons coming on the high seas coming to the UK, people smugglers, persons, you know, every day you have persons coming on the shore. Recently, some died. Uh, so what the government is trying to do is to discourage persons from coming to the UK on the high seas. And what they are saying is that when they come, their plan is to deport these persons, migrants, to Rwanda. The government plan to deport migrants to Rwanda is lawful. That's what the High Court has ruled. It is lawful. The court ruled on Monday that the scheme did not breach the UN's United Nations Refugee Convention of Human Rights laws, but the case of 8 asylum seekers had not been properly considered and would need to be. So the Home Secretary to making the Rwanda policy work. Hearing will take place in January to deal with any appeal application. And Ms. Braverman, who is the Home Secretary, um, said, "We have always maintained that this policy is lawful, and today the court has upheld this." She said, "I'm committed to making this partnership work. My focus remains on moving ahead with the policy as soon as possible, and we stand ready to defend against any further legal challenge." Okay, so that's where the government is standing with it. The question is, what are your views? What do you think about this? Yeah, I always say in the initial stage when they're talking about this is what is wrong with Rwanda? Yeah, what is wrong with Rwanda? People say you're going to be sending the people back to Africa. I ask the question, what if the persons were going to be sent to France? What if the persons were going to be sent to Germany? What if the persons were going to be sent to the United States of America? Would people be opposing to that? Or is it because it is Africa? Right? Is it because it is Rwanda? Many people are saying that Rwanda has a history of human rights injustice. And I said, really? Okay. And so America has never had any human rights injustice. And so Germany has never had any human rights injustice. And so France has never had any human rights injustice. And so no country in the world, every single country in the world, have had zero human rights injustice. The point about it is that, and I do, you know, listen, if someone goes on a boat and they say they want to go to the UK, that's where they want to go to. They decide that's where they want to go to because they are saying, I do not want to stay where I am because of my life. My life is going to be in harm's way. I'm going to be killed or so. So I need to get out of whatever country it is. I need to get out of that country. Is it because of my sexual orientation? Is it because of my political affiliation? Is it because of my religion? I need to get out of that country and I need to go away. And therefore, I'm sure the policy is not actually telling people to go to from Rwanda back to Rwanda. It is different persons from different countries. Now, I have no strong views against it, really, to a certain extent. I think the issue is persons being killed on the high seas. It's about the people smugglers and how do you curtail it? How do you stop these boats from coming? Lots of people have spent so much money in order to somewhat send their family members to have a better life, to go to the UK, to go to France, or so. But many people are aiming for the UK because what they claim is that the UK have is very good in taking care of persons and asylum seekers, and one can see that in light of the hotels and the facilities which is given, that many people are actually saying that immigrants or migrants or so asylum seekers benefit more. But as the picture says there, the people, lots of people are actually saying, stand up to racism, refugees welcome, stamp out anti-Semitism, note yes to diversity, stop the scapegoating. So the jury's out on that one there. The government seem hell bent on actually doing it, trying to do something, because for years they have been trying to do something, and somewhat nothing seems to be happening, and trying to get the whole thing. But I'll just play this brief little clip here, and to see if it can actually play, which a snippet from BBC in regards to this here. Rwandan asylum plan. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go.
Had brought the claim, arguing in the past half hour, the Home Office has won a legal challenge against its policy of sending some asylum seekers to Rwanda. Migrant charities and some of the people affected by the scheme had brought the claim, arguing the government had no right to fly people to the African nation. It's expected the ruling will be appealed. A judge has also ordered the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, to re-examine a number of individual cases. Let's speak to our Home Affairs correspondent, Dominic Casciani. Dominic, welcome to you. Just explain this ruling to us and what it means.
Samantha, this ruling is absolutely huge for the government. I mean, it is. You cannot underestimate how important it is for the Home Secretary Suella Braverman and her predecessor Priti Patel, and for the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to have won today at the High Court, because winning today, actually, in theory, in their words,
Okay. I think let me stop that there. Stop sharing. Yeah. Okay. So that's it there. That's the policy. Government has won it, and we'll see. I think the question to ask is the policy. What do people think about it, though? What do people think about this policy? Is it racist, as many say it? The Church of England say it is racism. Or I don't think they said that word, the racism, directly, but it is somewhat of a racist inclination, if that's the right word. I'm trying to butcher it up to give it a sort of spin to it. That the level of racism there, sending people back to Africa. And I keep saying to everyone, nothing is wrong with Africa. Africa is a place to be. Now, I'm not one of those proponents that is saying I'm going back to Africa, because I'm, I'm straight out of Oche, Jamaica. But for those who actually are championing their cause, Africa is a place to be, and nothing is wrong with Rwanda. Rwanda is a beacon of light, a hope there in that domain. And just talking about it, as I mentioned there, the Ngozi, that is the lady who is we didn't come here freely, we were taken. That's what somebody said. We didn't come here freely, we were taken. So that means to say, if we were taken, that means I think because we are free now, maybe should we say that we should now go back? should we say that because we're taken here freely, we're taken here, we didn't come here freely, then should we, or should people go back, or say that's the place to be? I need to go back to Africa because it is there, a massive continent. I want us to look at it another way. A massive continent. It's like it's a bread basket, they would say, of the world. One would say Africa is the bread basket of the world. That is where everything comes from. It's like that movie, The Kingdom of Heaven, where they say, what is it about Jerusalem? And the Arab guy says, nothing. And then you turn back to him and say, it means everything. Everything. So therefore, one could say that Um, Africa is everything. The oil, yes, the gold, the diamonds, the blood diamonds or whatever, riches is there, straight there, powerful. And therefore, as a result of that, it is so very clear that it is important that the indigenous persons actually own and take control. That's what Mugabe was actually doing. Maybe he's doing it a different way, in a certain way, but that's what he was looking for. The richness there. And I believe because of the self-hate again at the same time, um, the self-hate, sometimes we sometimes don't value ourselves more, and that is so. But personally speaking, um, you know, the whole aspect of Africa, and for years one have the discussions for years, many discussions about it. But one of the breaking light is the fact that even like the Horniman Museum just up the road there, um, they're sending back lots of relics, lots of artifacts, statues also back to Africa, which were stolen many years ago. Stolen. But sometimes you have to ask yourself the question, for it to have been stolen and for those guys, the transatlantic slave persons, able to go there, able to go to Africa, and able to wreak havoc, there must have been a legal gateway. A legal gateway is whereby there's an open door and there's access. For a house to be broken into, there must be access given somehow, or you plunder. But even though when someone break open a door and get into a home, there's a limited amount of time that they can get what they want because they're operating in an illegal framework. But somehow, but somehow there was an access. That is why, for a period of time, the transatlantic slavery movement was deemed to be legal. It was deemed to be legal. And that's why it was able to parade the high seas for years until persons actually came to their senses and say, this is wrong, totally wrong. Okay? So when the Dutch Prime Minister talks about that there's a need for an apology, and he apologized. One has got to go beyond an apology, because an apology is just an apology upon an apology, an apology. Because, and then many people are actually saying that the part of the reparation has got to be twofold, or threefold, or fourfold, whereby it is the perpetrators where the land where they went to, the new world, for argument's sake, the world which was discovered by those who weren't aware of the world before. A discovery is when one becomes knowledgeable of something. And then you say, I have discovered, I've learned something. But what you have learned doesn't mean to say it wasn't there before. I was walking in the park the other day, and while I'm doing my walk and talk motivational moments, and while walking in the park and having a nice, my beautiful rants and everything like that, and being inspired, words of power, and then lo and behold, there's a dog bouncing across to me, running, and I said, "Oh my days!" You know, here's a dog again. Once a dog rushed me one time, and I said, so I put my camera down on the ground because he's watching me and I'm watching him. We make eye contact. Is he going to be attacking me or so? And guess what? Guess what the dog had? The dog had a ball in his mouth. The dog had a ball in his mouth. The owner was shouting to the dog, and guess what the dog did? He threw the ball at me. And then I said, now I know what you want. I've discovered something. He wants to play. The dog wants to play. So I threw the ball back and said, okay, so you're Messi. Well, I'm Mbappe. You know what I mean? I'm Mbappe. And he was throwing the ball, and the owner came over and said, "Oh, this is gonna last for a long time now." So I threw the ball all the way towards the owner, and the dog even keep bouncing back. What I'm trying to say right there, it might sound a bit like a joke, but it was something that I discovered. I discovered there and then, while in the park, that this dog, which I believe was a threat, I discovered that he was actually wanting to play. And that means to say a discovery is subjective to a certain extent. And just because the Christopher Columbus and all those geezers say they discovered the world exists long time before. Persons were traveling on the high seas before. And then they discovered, of course, for Queen Isabella and Ferdinand in Spain, according to history. And they discovered it for the different countries, like and I'm using like the word Jamaica, ex-Jamaica, to a certain extent, right? So it's a very diverse topic when it comes on to the 400 years of transatlantic slavery movement. But something which sometimes always seems to be pushed aside is that one has got to recognize that there was an access and there was a legal entry that were able to take from the shores of Africa because someone also allowed it. And therefore, when one asks for reparations, the question is, who are all the stakeholders, the players at that time, in order for it to be deemed to be, or when you can say it is justice, when you can say it is definitely so. That's the thing. And and that's going to be something which is unfortunate that goes on over and over and over and over, which shouldn't be going over and over again, but it's something which should have been settled. So let the Dutch prime minister or president do something more than an apology and go for it there. The other thing also, one of the thing, there's a beautiful little what should I say? I saw an image. Well, it was a video actually. I saw a video that a guy well, on TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I saw this guy post this video, and the video was so very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. The video was so interesting, and all the video actually said was this. The guy said in the video, anything not said directly to you remain unsaid. Anything not said directly to you remain unsaid. I repeat, anything not directly said to you remain unsaid. The point is that, and I go back to this beautiful lady that was kneeling down and going across to Prince Charles, King Charles. And everybody was having a go at the lady. Not everybody, because I wasn't. And everybody's having a go at the lady and said she's crazy, she's a nutter. She set black people back 400 years. The ancestors are rolling in the grave. And every time I hear the word ancestors roll in the grave, I said, what do you mean by ancestors rolling in the grave? Nobody's rolling in the grave. I'm saying nobody's rolling in the grave. Let's grave. Church is gonna roll in the grave. And nobody's rolling in no grave. Wake up, wake up, wake up. They're all dead unless it's a duppy. But I understand the sentiments. I don't understand the sentiments. Mean to say that what you're actually trying to say is that it would be unfortunate if persons who pass on saw what is happening. But anyhow, I saw the lady and she kneeled towards Prince Charles and she go over across to him and she was happy. So I've drawn this conclusion now these days. Leave people alone. There's a song in Jamaica that says, leave people business and mind your own. I forget who sang it. Leave people business and mind your own. Leave people business and mind your own. And I always say, leave people business and mind your own. And on basis of that, I'm going to bring on Rudi Page a bit shortly. And on the basis of that, I'm saying, just enjoy people, man. Enjoy people these days. You know, even Meghan Markle and Harry. I saw some posts and I'm saying, leave the woman alone for Pete's sake. Let the woman enjoy her life. Who cares if she's a diva or so? You can be a diva. Everybody can be a diva. If you want to be a diva, leave the people alone. That's just my philosophy. And I'm trying to say, let's leave people, man. Right, Rudy? Is that what we should say? Is that what you say, Rudy? Let people leave people business. Leave people alone, isn't it?
Absolutely, leave people alone. Absolutely, but but we know life ain't like that.
I've been like that. I see sometimes whereby persons just really get a bit worked up over certain things, and I see it and I said, man, God, the amount of time that people get worked up on certain things, if they put that energy into some serious stuff, can you imagine how far they could be.
But you also have to remember, though, Silver, some people get paid to do that, and it's an
Mm,
important part of even that. Even though the morality of it is something to be, that's another debate. But if that's how they pull their monthly wages, then they do what they got to do,
yes, 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 yes,
regardless of the price it may cost other people. You know,
yes, yes.
such
Well,
life.
well, yeah, awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier today, that I'm going to switch over, and those on Instagram, if you actually want to see, you'll have to come on to the YouTube channel or the Facebook channel to see the discussion we're going to have. I got Rudi Page here. Rudi Page is the man with no hair, but actually he was really into hair.
You know, Silver, I tell everybody, bald is a hairstyle.
Ball is the hairstyle.
No,
Well, Rudi,
the first hairstyle is bald. Always
well,
remember that.
well, as you can see, I put you up there live and direct.
I've
And
noticed.
ladies and gentlemen, and of course I can also do the same. You know, I'm trying to say, you know, ball ball is in. Well, it's been in for years, isn't it?
It's a hairstyle. That's all you got to say. Bald is a hairstyle.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Rudy Page is the are you the you're the
The
chair of
chair.
the
I've been asked to chair
Hmm,
the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council and the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council
yes.
Electoral Committee. So it's very specific. It's
Mm,
a very time limited endeavour.
yes.
So I've been asked to do that by the acting High Commissioner, Bishop
Yes.
Grant, who you know well, of course.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I will carry out my duty.
Yes. And there's a video which you did and I
Mm.
think but actually it's on YouTube. But we play that later. That's the one where you're advertising. But the diaspora, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned before, the diaspora is remnants of a nation, not a nation. Jamaicans, we're talking specifically here now. Jamaicans all over the world. There's something that Delano Franklin, who was the convener, Minister of State at the time for the diaspora initiative, he said. 2.5 or whatever in Jamaica is the same outside of Jamaica in respect of our persons. And therefore, Jamaicans also outside need to have a voice. And the Diaspora Initiative, which started in 2004, reached to a point where it was a Diaspora Advisory Board members, but it has evolved. Rudy, if you can take it on from there. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, so really good introduction, Stephen. And you're right, that initiative that was started those years ago. And so what happened was that the the government then came up with what was called these two different councils, the Jamaica Diaspora Council and the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, and
Mm.
also the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council.
Yes.
So these replaced what were the local diaspora UK and other such bodies, and in a sense brought it more clearer under government influence. But these bodies are underpinned by what's called the National Diaspora Policy,
Yeah.
which is a commitment, a policy commitment from the government to engage the diasporas, and particularly recognizing that it's an increasing population group as well, as you can imagine. But
Yes.
also that then would enable sort of legal participation in the national development planning, facilitating, and actually part of the institutional mechanisms. And this is the important factor to the current policy initiatives, is that the diaspora is now included, at least in policy terms,
Yes.
as an integral part of the national development planning. And before the policy, the national development policy, it wasn't. It was just another group sending 2 point whatever billion a year in remittances.
Yes.
And it was all linked to family, education, social development. So yeah.
And I know you sort of said it a while ago, but I want to delve a bit. So why was it created, and the sort of work it is actually wanting to do or achieve?
I think why it was really created in the end was that many people felt that there just wasn't that institutional support and that recognition of the contribution of the diaspora. But not only that, the government also knew that it was important to maintain those relationships with the diaspora as well. And in order to maintain those relationships, then the diaspora voice would have to be involved, would have to be included. There had to be representation. So, you can't get representation without involvement. If there's no pathways to be involved, there's no policies, there's no accountability, those kind of things, then it becomes difficult for the diaspora voice to be heard. And then it's not in the government's interest for the diaspora then to withdraw their support. In fact, what they want to do is grow the diaspora involvement. And it's also important for the diaspora itself, given those of us who've got roots in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, and that there are families. We're all a legacy of our families, whether it's a great grandchildren. And as you know, here in the UK, we've got 5 generations now in the UK. So we do have elders at over 90 years old, 100 years old, 102 years old. So there's 5 or 6 generations out here in the diaspora.
Rudi, when the word is said, when the word is used, representation, and to be a representation and to affect, can the members of the Global Diaspora Council affect policies in Jamaica? Because let's look at it this way: the diaspora body or the organization is really to affect Jamaican policies, or is it also to affect policies here in the UK as well, or it is more primarily for representing Jamaica?
Good question. So what I would say is that a certain level of this representation is about diaspora diplomacy.
Yes.
So on the first hand, it's about the diaspora raising their voice in the interests of Jamaica, which they're entitled to do. And as you know, within our parliamentary system, we have all party groups relating to specific countries or specific industries or interests. So there's diaspora diplomacy, which is about using the voice and influence to the political decision making here that would favor the Jamaica, the Caribbean, or the region. So that's an integral part, because obviously we have direct access to the politicians, because they're our local MPs, etc., etc.
Yes.
And then there's obviously great opportunities for twinning, philanthropic donations, all those kind of things, particularly in health and education, where our diaspora movement has been huge transfer of equipment, knowledge, skills, information back into Jamaica. So there's that side. And then I would say the process is at an early stage as it now relates to the diaspora voice within the institutional structures within Jamaica at the moment. So the policy is there, and like all policies, they have to be translated in what we call into workable plans.
Yes.
People have to be involved, and you can't get representation till you're involved.
Yes.
So I think we're still very much at the establishment of the involvement part of the process.
Yes.
And in the involvement of the policy or involvement for the policy would mean a greater level of collective responsibility and progression within the diaspora itself.
Yeah.
And then starting to take the decisions and, you know, electing individuals who can then go and represent the diaspora voice within these new institutional structures. So we're still at the early stages.
Yes.
As
Yes.
we know, this round of elections now is only the second round from the
Yeah.
birth of the councils.
Okay. I just want to come in there. Okay. So we understand the function of the council is an advisory and consultative body which
Yeah,
can explore pathways for increased engagement, partnership with the diaspora and matters of interest to both the diaspora and Jamaica. So therefore, one can impact things in the diaspora and also Jamaica, because as you know, we worked on the issues regarding the airport passenger duty tax, where it was a consultative work with Jamaica trying to get them to reduce that there. But let's go into this election now and the composition of the council, because that is a crucial thing that Jamaicans in the diaspora need to Jamaicans in the UK need to be aware of. Yeah.
right. So as it relates to the UK, so we've got two councils. So we've got basically the 18 to 35-year age group, which is what we really call the Youth Council. So you've got you've got the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council, and that's for the 18 to 35 years of age.
That's yeah. So are we going to put ourselves forward for that one, Rudi?
I just about get in to 35. I'm not sure about you though, Sylvia. I just scrape in.
Okay, go on.
The only problem is my daughter's 40 years old. That's the only problem.
Okay, yeah.
But and then of course we have the other council, which is for over 35s. So we've got two council bodies, and so we're entitled from the UK to have two representatives, one from the north and one from the south,
Yeah.
both bodies. So that would give us four representatives on that particular council, advisory council, which is primarily really to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
And Trade. So so we have the north, which covers northeast, northwest, East Midlands, West Midlands, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. That's regarded as the north. And then
Yes.
we have the south, which is London, southeast, southwest, Wales, Isle of Wight, Jersey, Guernsey, and the Isles of Scilly. All these are
Okay.
regarded as the south.
Yes, yes. And of course we've got two persons now who are responsible for that, which is Nathaniel Pete for the South and Kevin Brown
For the north. So yeah, and then I can't remember the names of the youth council. I think
Yeah.
there's Tanisha Westcar, I think is one of them. I can't remember the name of
Yes.
the other person for the north, which first time round I think that they were appointments as opposed to being elected. Whereas this time round all posts are open for election.
Yes.
And the end of the voter registration and nomination period is the 2nd of January. And voting is online. All people need to do is go to glowjamcouncils.com and they can register there either to nominate themselves or a friend or somebody who they feel, you know,
Yes.
could develop this role, or if they want to just vote, you know, just register to vote, because once the campaign starts, we'll have the pictures, we'll have the, you know, the biogs of those who are putting themselves forwards,
Yes.
and we hope there'll be some scrutiny as well in terms of, you know, what are they going to do in this role, what responsibilities are they going to undertake, and how is the community's voice going to be heard, and how are they going to translate that into the council meetings.
Yeah. Can you just repeat that? I thought I had it, but just repeat so I can just put it up there.
Right,
The email address is what again, sorry?
right. So the to register is Glow Jam Councils.
One
G,
word.
yeah, one word. GLOJAM Councils
Sorry,
dot
my
com.
one second there. GLO. Uh-huh.
JAM
AAM
Councils
CILS.
COUNCILS, yeah, .com. Glowjamcouncils dot
Also, that's
com.
the web. Okay. Okay.
Right.
Sorry, Rudy. Did you say website or email address? That was.
That's the website. So
Oh,
if they
website.
go to that website, it has everything on there. So they can
Okay.
leave comments, they can register to vote or register to nominate themselves as well, or nominate a friend or nominate somebody who they feel um, could you know really make a contribution in this
Yeah.
area. And particularly with the young people, those between 18 and 35 years older, Sylvan, you know,
Mm,
people who are into international relations, creative industries, you know, those, you know, somewhat in the health and care systems, where they're
yeah.
kind of used to working with other groups of people, different groups, people with diverse backgrounds, being able to get a point across, but
Yes.
also interested in the voice of the community and taking that voice into new domains, really.
Yes.
At
Yes.
the
Yes.
same time, developing their skills. So that's what I think we're probably looking for now, where we are now with this as a process.
Because it's very important because at times Jamaicans overseas would feel like their voices are not being heard, and so the High Commission is one aspect which did a lot of you know, diplomatic stuff. So sometimes they can't come out very strong on certain things. So the Diaspora Council should be that sort of buffer, isn't it?
Well, definitely in terms of members of the diaspora, because if you think of the importance that the government places on engagement with the Jamaican diaspora,
Yeah.
because the diaspora is regarded as an essential priority of the government of Jamaica, but not just the government of Jamaica, but the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
Yes.
So it is absolutely important that there is a voice, there is support, and there is
Yeah.
that collective representation coming from the diaspora. But in terms of touching on what you alluded to, some of that is also about how the diaspora itself is organized as well,
Mm. So
which has got nothing to do with the government. And
yeah.
that's another agenda altogether.
So as someone would say, can they challenge the government? Can they challenge their commission? Can they rock the boat?
Well, I think the
Mm.
best way to put it, they're in a position for their voice to be heard.
Or should I say they're in a position for the community to impress upon them, for the community voice to be heard through them, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you're right there, because again,
Mm.
we're back to this representation that
Yes.
we want individuals who will go and listen to the community,
Mm.
take the initiative and go and find out what's
Yes.
going on. Then take that back and say, listen, I'm the messenger.
Yes.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yes, yes, yes. And so because many, I mean, the diaspora has been around for a long time, and many people sometimes have their their criticisms as well, and sometimes it's like it is becoming more like a profiling thing, you know. So
Yeah,
therefore, one has got to wake up, and
yeah,
and do some serious thing. But your role there is just to ensure that the facility and the process,
yeah. It's a process,
yeah,
but I think what we're encouraging to do,
yeah,
our community to do, and I've read the the national diaspora policy itself. So the council as a voice is actually underpinned by the critical aspects of the national diaspora policy, which is
yes.
about 78 pages. And
Mm.
I've read the document, so I do
What is
understand.
on page 55 again?
I can't remember, but there's definitely the word diaspora on there.
Yeah.
But in essence, like any policy, and you know that's one of my areas of
Yes,
specialization,
policies, yeah.
policy implementation. At the end of the day, you have to reach a consensus, identify what the strategic objectives are that can then be translated into what we call workable plans.
Yes.
And so we're still at early stages, but at least there is a policy which is again at least a pathway, because prior
Mm.
to 2019, 2018, or whenever it was introduced and agreed at the, I think at the last diaspora conference, there was not any clear pathway
Mm.
for the diaspora involvement within the institutional structures of the government.
Yeah. And how do you think people can do you see this as some initiative or project or work that inspires persons in the Jamaican community? Are Jamaicans in the community inspired to engage? What's the feedback you're getting out there?
Yeah, I think at this stage, Sylvia,
Mm.
what we'll find will be the type that the people who always will want a voice because of their personal and family experience,
Mm.
getting their passport, or getting their citizenship, or getting their TRN number, or they've got family back home issues, in relation to family issues. So people will always have that voice as it relates to how.
Well, Pika was here recently, and people are still waiting for their passport.
Yeah, some people got their passports, some
I
people
got
have.
mine. I got mine in the house still, but
Exactly. And of course, those who got theirs don't need to say anything. It's those who haven't got theirs. Right? So yeah, that part is important. But I think where we're traveling now, though, Sylvia,
Mm.
in a sense, would go back to, if you remember a few years ago when we did that first survey and asked the community, what are the goals that we support as it relates to Jamaica's national development plans?
Yeah.
And I think it was goal 2 about a secure, fair, and cohesive society.
Yes.
But that was just us voicing that. It didn't necessarily go into the institutional structures
Mm.
because there wasn't a particular pathway or a policy that it could fit into. Whereas now we do have one. However, we've got to populate that involvement in the diaspora. So I think that's definitely a role for people such as yourself now to start to test the policy in terms of the people putting themselves forward now. I mean,
Yes.
do they understand what the policy is? And if you understand it, how are you going to translate the voices of the diaspora into that policy? And can they rely on you when you get to those meetings that you're going to raise those points?
No, that's very crucial and important. And just remind me now the dates. Just remind me of those dates now, the crucial dates that
Right.
the
So the
people have.
crucial dates now. So nominations and voter registration is open. So that ends on the 2nd of January.
Mm.
So that ends in terms of voter registration and nomination. the nomination period. So remember, individuals can nominate themselves as well as others nominate them. And it's really important that if you're living in the South, then you have to register for the South. So you can't live in the South and register in the North and vice versa. So it's about your address, your postal address. Yes, it's online, but you can also vote and nominate through paper ballots. You can just contact the Jamaica High Commission in London and get the necessary ballot papers as well. So 2nd of January, going back to your point, that's the end of voter registration and nomination period. And then on the 5th of January, we will publish the final slate of candidates. And then from the 5th through to the 10th of January, that's the official campaigning period.
Yes.
And then from the 10th of January through to the 27th of January is the voting period. So that's a few days, 17 days to vote. And then on the 30th of January, that's the certification of the election results. We certify that as an electoral committee. And then on the 1st of February, we make the announcement of the election results.
And then people, and then that's when they get cracking. And where will they be traveling to Jamaica or so?
Good question. That's above my pay grade because I would have done my job as part of the committee. Our role is just to ensure a fair
facilitate a fair thing
process for the elections, and that's it. Then we thank you.
So therefore, in the moment now, what you'll be doing is to somehow try to stimulate Jamaicans in the UK to sort of get on board and to be a part of the process.
Absolutely. So we produce a video focused very much on the young people. We send flyers around, YouTube links everywhere, email databases, platforms such as this now, getting people to understand that we think it's important that the more people understand what's going on, they can get involved. glowjamcouncils.com. So even if they don't want to put themselves forward or anyone else, they can still vote.
Yeah.
Okay, great. You've put the flyer up there. They're entitled to vote, and they can, comment on the people who put themselves forward. I guess we'll look at ways in terms of some hustings. We'll talk about that, Sylvan.
Yes.
The feasibility of doing that so that people can have their say. It's really important.
Yeah.
If we get these.
Because definitely it'd be good because sometimes like some political parties or so like that, people are put in positions and it's like an easy ride. It'd be good for people to be scrutinized and to know that's the way forward, whereby there's going to be accountability, transparency, and not just an easy ride, because it's at the same time you don't want to turn people off because it's a volunteer. I presume it's a volunteer sort of work.
It is a volunteer.
People just like, listen, man, I can't bother with this, man. I can't bother with this. Yeah. I got work to do. I got my family to feed. No, that's very important. I have the video. I saw a video which you did, and I had it, and I just can't have it somewhere. The YouTube. I mean, what I'm gonna do is to, if you can send me the not the YouTube, but just the raw bit there, and I can also put it up there.
Okay.
As well. So ladies and gentlemen, this is very important to be involved with the Global Diaspora Council, and that is members of the Jamaican community in the UK. And Rudi, they don't have to be, just to this point, they need to be just Jamaican ancestry. They don't have to be born in Jamaica, isn't it?
No. So it is literally of Jamaican descent.
Descent, yes.
So whether through your parents, you know, your father, your mother, your grandparents. So it's yeah, through your family.
Yeah, that's a key thing through your family.
That's the important thing, that you have the
Yeah.
family ties, you know,
Yeah. Well,
father, mother, grandparents, you know.
mm.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I look forward to, I'm going to play this. I saw the video here. One of the things that I'm looking forward to is the hustings bit there, and of course you're going to set out the progress for that
Yeah.
and how we'll be able to do this. But let me just play this video here, which I just found. If I can find. Yep. Global Diaspora. Let me know. I'm going to play it, Rudy. Let me know if you can hear it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just give me a thumbs up. I'm going to silent myself.
No.
Okay. So sorry. So that video is going around. Yep.
Okay.
That video is going around, Rudy. That video there, which you did.
Okay.
No. I'm just double checking. I'm just saying that
No,
video.
I couldn't hear it.
You didn't hear it at all.
No.
Ah, you couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I heard it then.
Right. Yeah.
Let me.
You've got the website up anyway. I can see that. So,
Yeah. Somehow it wasn't coming through. That's
yeah.
all right. No problem.
Yeah.
What I'll do is post it because I didn't cue it properly in a way. Any last word, Rudy? 'Cause I think we're
Right.
gonna be talking more about this anyhow still.
Right. I I think it's important for people to go to the website www.glowjamcouncils.com. Have a look through it. It's got all the information on there. They can find out more about the National Diaspora Policy, what it is, but also, most importantly, if they want to get involved in the election process, either as a nominee or as a voter, all the information is on there. It's pretty easy to navigate.
Yeah.
And if anybody needs to send me an email, they just send it to uk.glowjamcouncils at
Email what? UK?
so uk.glowjamcouncils at
Okay.
gmail.
Councils.
Yeah, so uk.glowjamcouncils
Yep.
at gmail.com. So it's
Gmail.
very similar to the website address.
Yes.
uk.glowjamcouncils at gmail.com, exactly as you want.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. And what we've done
Yeah.
as well, Sylvan, just so that people know, the process is working across the US and the Canadian diaspora as well.
At the same time.
Same time. And
Okay.
we've been sharing the material that we've produced. We've also there's a list of frequently asked questions. There's about 20 of those, and I can send you that so that
Yeah.
again, it really helps people in terms of understanding the questions that they may want to ask. So we've put that into one document, updated it, and we've been sharing that document around to everybody as well.
Mm.
as part of this.
Actually, I think I have it there. Is this it?
That's it, perfect. That's the exact
Yeah.
document. So again, that's a PDF document.
Mm.
Um, and if anybody wants to email me at that email address you've got up there, or they can contact you and
Yes, yes.
forward that
Again,
PDF document. Got 20 questions and answers in there, so a
yeah.
lot of information that people want.
So,
That's
ladies and gentlemen, some of the questions: what is the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council? Why was it created? What is the role and function of the council? What is the role and what is the significance of a diaspora involvement in the council? What is the composition of the council? The election process, who will oversee, manage election process, and yeah, all these questions there up to how will the leadership membership of the council be managed, to where do I find more information on the GJDC election process?
yeah,
Good. I think there's a good footing there, Rudy. I think there's a good footing if we worked together in the past and we share similar concerns, and I believe all stakeholders coming together can make this work. Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's important, Sylvan, because particularly now coming out of the pandemic, so
Mm,
there's a lot of lessons that have been learned. As you know, I did a lot of work through the pandemic,
yeah.
and coming out of the pandemic now, that there has to be a paradigm shift in the
Yes.
way that we involve, represent voices of communities, their neighbourhoods, the relationship within ourselves and with Jamaica, and other parts of the world as well.
Yeah.
The regions. We haven't had that conversation for a while. That Caribbean region,
Yes.
the importance of that, the Commonwealth, the Caribbean Commonwealth. A lot of people don't realise the world has changed significantly. The Caribbean Commonwealth is an important entity,
Yeah.
which which is defined as all the English-speaking Caribbean countries, plus Belize and Guyana on the South American mainland.
Mm,
We now have in that grouping, that regional grouping, the big four,
mm,
Barbados, Jamaica, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago. So what does that mean for the diaspora?
yeah.
All four countries have big diasporas as well, whether it's here in the UK, the US, Canada. We've recently been speaking with our Canadian cousin, because some people may not know this, but in the 1960s, Sylvan, the
Yeah.
immigration laws were changed. And that meant a lot of people who were coming from Jamaica and around the Caribbean to the UK were not able to come over here through families, certain
Yes.
families, and a lot of them went to Canada. So throughout the 70s, we were used to hearing about split families between the UK and Canada. So now we've just opened up discussions recently about bringing everybody together again under the Windrush 75
Yeah.
celebration for next year.
Mm.
So, so we've said to our Canadian cousins, look, come onto the platform to be part of, and we're all equal, UK, US, Canada.
Yeah.
As the
It, it, it's going to be a challenging period at this junction, though, as you rightly say, coming out of COVID, high cost of living. The
yeah,
diaspora will have to work with the diaspora because, of course, every nationals, the Jews, the Asians, they're working ways how to offset and deal with all these high costs of living. We'll have to find some very initiative ways to help each other, and also, you mentioned Barbados. Barbados made this plunge in going going solar, by removing the queen, well, the king as the head of state. Jamaica has been talking about this, and this is going to be a question that is going to be put to the council.
didn't I hear 2025 for Jamaica?
You heard 2025.
Yeah, didn't I read somewhere 2025?
Well, there's 2030. The
We
Vision
got
2030.
right, the National Development Goals 2030, but I
Yeah.
think least if the process starts in 2025, at least that will be good to know.
Yes, yes. So these are things that the government of Jamaica will have to be sit up if it worked properly. And I believe, just like with any government, an effective opposition makes a strong government. I believe a lame duck opposition creates a lame duck government, to a certain extent. So I believe a strong diaspora, in a way, can keep the government sitting and will benefit the country, Jamaica. Maybe even to talk about representation on the Senate, as many have been talking about for years. The voting overseas, of course, we're not going to touch on that, but that
I think you're really walking over the hot coals today.
yeah, because these are the things that we will have to bring. But hey, I I know you're in you're. I want you to just get the people them in place and the right people, and then we go on to that next level.
Absolutely. It's
Yes,
important there's accountability regardless of our role. If we accept a role to represent the public, then we should be accountable.
yes, yes,
Like, people should know where to find us.
yes. Rudy, listen,
Yeah.
it was a good evening, and I think we'll have to do some more,
Yeah.
and so we'll talk about how we're gonna do the next
Yeah.
level and how we can make it effective as well.
Well, we need to get the series back on track from next year, 2023,
Mm, mm.
and then put everything right the way we
Yes,
used to do before.
yes,
Help people
yes,
understand. At least we help people to understand
yes.
some of the broader perspectives, and
Mm.
that's the most important thing, I guess. We can.
And the thing about it is that there are voices out there. There are people who are speaking, but it's joining things up, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Is joining things up.
Collaboration,
Yeah, yeah,
cooperation. It's
yeah,
always about collaboration. There are sectoral interests, and it
yes,
just makes sense to collaborate, within
yeah.
the processes.
Because it's I know we're going on because each time we're talking, there's more thing because we've got the youths who are coming up, and we've got to ensure that we all know that these young persons that are around us,
Yeah,
my children, they're not going to Jamaica,
yeah,
they're all in this country, and so
yeah,
therefore we've got to ensure that they see
yeah.
strong leadership when this racism issue comes, they and those stuff. They need to know that there's strong voices that is there to support them. So therefore, they're not fighting these battles as children. We are fighting the battles to allow them to fight their battles when it is time for their
A-
battles to fight.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
we need to, and they need to understand as well
Mm.
that there are mentors around,
Yeah.
are people with the lived experience, and they should get involved. It's their
Yeah.
future. They have as much
Mm.
right as anyone else,
Well,
and
you have said it in the past. Passing the baton,
passing the baton,
passing the baton,
as ever was, eh?
as ever was. Yeah,
As,
passing the baton.
as ever was. And again, as we say that, that's why we've also, our big question has been, could you recommend an 18 to 35-year-old
Mm.
talent for the Global Diaspora Council? Again, and even with the adults, we're saying to them, we'll support the young people, encourage the young people to work as a collective and support them and promote them. Share their messages, use your networks to encourage the young people because they are out there. I think that's very important.
Yeah, that's stuff. Rudy, have a good
Great.
night.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas when it comes. Even though we talked before that, in it, my philosophy is even like New Year and 2023. I always say I look forward to the next minute until 2023 comes. I don't want to stop and say I'll wait till 2023 because I always believe that is procrastination.
Exactly.
But I understand the sentiment in here still as
Oh,
well.
oh,
All right.
all right.
Take care,
Thank you.
Rudy.
Good
God
night.
bless, man.
Good
Peace
night.
out.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye bye. Thanks. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that was Rudy Page. the convener chair for the Global Diaspora Council, and he set the dates out, which you have seen and you have heard. And if you want to email him, there are the email address, glowjamcouncils@gmail.com. And if you want to register and to get involved, there you are, Global Diaspora Council, which is the website, which is www.glowjamcouncils.com. It is very important for voices within the diaspora to be heard. It is very important that voices speak up, and it's also very important that the members or the persons who are elected will listen to the voices of the diaspora, and to ensure that such voices is heard to the High Commission, to the Jamaican government, to the powers that be, and somehow to make things work better. Because they also love this saying. There's this saying that the Governor General of Jamaica always say, what is wrong with Jamaica can be made right with what is right for Jamaica. I can put it as well. What is wrong with the diaspora in the UK can be made right with what is right for the diaspora in the UK. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year when it comes. All the best. Thank you for those joining on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Thank you, Rudi Page, for coming on. Thank you, Richard Davis, as well, for synchronizing. And we'll put out more information on this. Have a good night. God bless you. And peace out.